potentially the first major test for the Seahawks this season, going to Detroit Monday Night Football against the Lions. 3-0, George, in a team that most people have doubted their schedule, playing the Patriots, Broncos, and the Dolphins. And now we're going to find out how good is this 3-0 team.
Yeah, this is our first major test, Monday Night Football, as you said. And the crazy thing is it's in Detroit, Motor City, and they're going to be wearing their all black uniforms, blue helmets. We're going all white. This is going to be one of the most exciting, not just because we're Seahawks fans, but in general, one of the most exciting Monday Night Football games maybe of the year. Like, this is exciting stuff. Can't wait for it, to be honest with you.
You're listening to the Sports ONTAP Seattle podcast. I'm Sammy, and with me, as always, is my older brother, George.
Your favorite place to be a fan of Seattle sports. Now let's get this party started.
Yeah, it's one of those games I think that the general public is excited to see, right? Like, how legit's Detroit this year? How legit's Seattle this year? Like, two teams that are trending upwardly, right? Like, I mean, the Lions might have plateaued. I don't know. They made the NFC Championship game, but they were supposed to be trending upwardly to be a Super Bowl contender, and the Seahawks are doing that a little before expected. I think the big thing for me, we're talking about the first real test, right? Like the first one for the Seahawks. At the end of the day, though, and I think you'll agree with this, I'm not necessarily going to look at it as, oh, win, we're legit, loss, we're not legit, right? This is not one of those games that if you lose, but you lose in a good fashion, you might say, oh, that's what I wanted to see from the Seahawks.
Yeah, I never say that, really, like in general in the NFL, unless you get blown off, like, blown off the line of scrimmage and you lose the game.
Like the Cowboys to the Saints. That was a bad look.
That was a bad look when they rebounded by barely beating the Giants. Yeah, but no, my point is this game is going to be a little scary. I am going to pick us to win because I'm a Seahawks fan and that's just kind of what I do. But if you want to actually look at it, this is scary. Aiden Hutchinson is a absolute beast. I think he leads the NFL in sacks right now. The Lions get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. And you know what doesn't help that?
Having a bad offensive line.
Exactly, having a bad offensive line. And the crowd noise at Ford Field? Is that what they call it now?
I think it's Ford, yeah.
Yeah, they used to be the Silver Dome back in the day, but now Ford Field. And yeah, it's just going to be in that place. It's kind of crazy, right? Because we've gone to Detroit back-to-back years in one, but we've also lost the Super Bowl in that stadium. So it's going to be really interesting to see how we react.
The Pittsburgh Steelers one. I was like, there was in Arizona, the Patriots one, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was in Ford Field. The Seahawks have kind of played in, I think there's only been 2 cold weather city Super Bowls, Detroit and New York, and the Seahawks have been in both of them.
But Detroit's a dome. So
yeah, no, it's a dome. But I'm just saying, like, cold weather cities, not. Oh no, Minnesota once hosted a Super Bowl, I think, as well. But that's besides the point here. Getting off track. The point is here, the offensive line needs to find a way to get Hutchinson contained, and I'm sure they're going to put him on the right side because why would they put him across from Charles Cross? Put him on the right side of offensive line and let him just try to attack from that side.
The left side of the defense, technically.
Yeah, left. Yeah. Is that how it? Right? Yeah, I think that you're right. That's how it works. Flipped over.
Yeah, they're looking at the right side of the defense. That's with the left tackle.
Correct. Yeah. So they're going to take him off our right tackle. Hopefully, Ryan Grubb. This game, I think, about the offensive line and not having pressure is on Ryan Grubb. I think we have to play a very different type of game. We can't have long developing passes. It's going to have to be quick screens, ball possession. Our run blocking is definitely not as bad as our pass blocking. I think we talked about it. We're 7th in rush blocking according to PFF. So I think we just need to control the ground game and make sure that we do not allow them to get immense pressure, because pressure turns into turnovers and turnovers can turn into points.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they are going to attack the right side of that line with Anthony Bradford and Stone Forsythe. And I mean, even if you try to put in a little bit of Christian Haynes at right guard, I mean, at the end of the day, that right side of the line is definitely not very good. I saw this tweet today, now that you mentioned the right side of the line. Anthony Bradford, Seahawks right guard Anthony Bradford, has drawn 7 flags through 3 games. There's no other guard that has more than 3 in the NFL. So he's been penalized and doubled than any other player in this league at his position. So when you have a guy like Aiden Hutchinson on that side and they're bringing a lot of pressure, that probably is not going to help the statistics of Anthony Bradford's mistakes that he has on the right side of that line. So I am concerned about that. And I'm concerned if Kenneth Walker doesn't play, because you're going to want a balanced attack. Like
Yeah.
that's a big part of that too. And I think that's
That
a big
extra day
part.
does help. I
Yeah.
think I think if it was Sunday, he might be less likely to play, but that extra day, and he's practicing today, which helps.
Yeah, but I still, at the end of the day, if he's not 100% or if he's not playing well or if he gets banged up again, at the end of the day, I think we talked about this on the last episode. I feel like a lot of times the reason you'll see not the reason, but a big part of an offensive line struggling is when there's no balance, right? If
Right.
you're going to have to throw the ball 50 times because there's no run game, they're going to get beat up on the pass block protection because the defense knows what's coming. That I feel like at the end of the day, when you have the balance, it's probably a little easier, even if you're not good at it, even if our,
Mm.
our bread and butter is not pass protection. If there's a really good established run game, it alleviates some pressure from that line. Like the defense has to stay on its toes a little bit. It's not just throwing 5 guys, 6 guys at you saying, we know you're throwing and we know we can get to this guy. So
Absolutely.
that's a big part that I'm hoping ends up in our favor. Kenneth Walker playing, or even if it's Zach Charbonnet, whatever it is, establish the run really well, because then Geno plays a lot better when that happens.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But I have a question for you, Sammy.
Yep.
So Aiden Hutchinson through 3 games has 6.5 sacks. One of those games was against the Buccaneers where he had 4.5. What would be a number you come out of this game and say, hey, we contained Aiden Hutchinson?
A quick break here just to talk about our sponsor. It's the Rebet app, and it's legal in Washington State for you Seattleites and in 46 other states. So, wherever you are, you might be able to use it. It's a social sweepstakes game, but you're betting spreads, you're betting player props, just like any other app. And you can use promo code ONTAP to get our special offer.
Yeah, you'll get up to $100 bonus on your first deposit. If you put in 100, you get 100. If you put in 10, you get 10. And use promo code ONTAP, as Sammy said. It's really fun. You can actually use real money to bet on these spreads. So it's a great way to have a sports book. The only one you can use with your phone in Washington State.
It's pretty exciting, actually. And
it is really cool.
And it is legal. So if you're scared about it or something, it's illegal. Like there's a lot of legality behind this. So it's legal. I have friends that use it now in Seattle, and you can take out your winnings in cash, like real cash deposited to your bank. So use promo code ONTAP or the link in our description. But when you get to the name section, like fill in your name, date of birth, email, password, make sure right on the top where it says referral code, it says the words ONTAP. If it doesn't, you can type it in, press save, and you'll see it. Otherwise, you will not get your deposit match, or you won't get us credit, and which means we can do less podcasts.
Sammy, what are you betting with free bet this week?
I'm just going to go with the Seahawks plus 3.5, my friend.
Yeah, me too. I'm going with Seahawks plus 3.5 and some other bets, but mostly Seahawks plus 3.5.
Hit it. Let's win it. And yeah, promo code ONTAP or the link in the description. And let's get back to the pod. I don't think there's a sack number that I can put on it, because him being contained might lead to another guy getting 2-3 sacks.
No, totally. But I mean, like, I guess just for fun, like if he ended up with 1 sack, would you be like, all right, we did our job?
I'm going to look up how many sacks Geno Smith's been averaging per game, and I'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah, this is just for fun. This is not the gospel here.
He's had 2, 3, and 3. That's it. So if we're
okay.
within 3 or 4 sacks against a really good defensive line, I'm very happy.
And to me, it depends on how those sacks come too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like there's different types of sacks.
There's a difference between 3-step drop back and I got hit right away versus like Geno Smith ran around, tried to make magic happen on a 3rd down. He's trying to extend the play, then get sacked.
And then
very
get out
different
of field goal
types of
range, for example.
Yeah. A very different type of sack. So if we can contain them, if we only allow 2 or 3 sacks, I mean, it's still a good game. Statistically speaking, if they allow 4 or more, it's more than they've allowed any other game this week. And I would say that's a disappointment. And it's not necessarily about Aiden Hutchinson. He might be the one that causes havoc, or containing him might mean somebody else is, in there to get a sack. So for me, the answer is more as a team, make sure Geno doesn't get hit more than 2 or 3 times for a sack.
Yeah, that's what I would hope too. And I think it all depends also on how the game is going, right? Like we haven't had to play any games like completely behind. Yeah, there are times we've trailed during the season, but we haven't gone down 10 points and now all of a sudden we're trying to rush back and score points, which, that means you have to drop back more sacks and longer plays. If we can control the game, keep it close, keep the run game going, I think the sack number just naturally will come down.
Yeah, and that's the goal. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever it is too, whatever it is about the Seahawks in Detroit, I know it's not supposed to roll over year by year. It doesn't technically, but they've been comfortable in that building to win
Mhm.
games. Even though the Lions have been a better football team than them the last 2 years. Maybe this year their Seahawks started off better, but the Lions have been by far a better team the last 2 years than the Seahawks, and they
Have
still
they?
went
Wait,
into Detroit.
I think 1 year, right? Because that year, I might be wrong, but have
Yeah,
the
we made the playoffs over them, but they got
yeah.
hot at the end of the year and they beat Green Bay. That's the only reason we got in the playoffs.
Yeah, thanks, Detroit.
Yeah, but like realistically speaking, I think that they were ascending and we were not necessarily ascending. I think we
Yeah,
started
I agree.
like we were kind of like I think we had a lead and then we were like starting to lose it at the end of the year.
And
Yeah,
they
like
were
Detroit,
emerging.
George, that year, 2022, Detroit started off 1-6, 1-6. And
Jeez.
yeah.
Dan Campbell's turnaround has been absolutely absurd.
Oh, sorry. No. I was actually no, yeah, week 1. Like, am I crazy? I thought it was going backwards,
There's
but
no way they started 1-6?
yeah, and so that's what I mean by like I think yeah, this is week 1, right? I was confused because preseason does it go this way, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1-6. So
Wow, I
while
had no idea they had a
yeah,
turnaround like that. That means Dan
that's
Campbell's
why I
job was
say
on
they're
the
better.
line.
Yeah, I mean, remember they were saying maybe he's not the coach. And then they won that game in Green Bay. If the Seahawks lost that week, we would have blown our chances. I think we started off better and then we
I
were
think we
blowing our
started off
chances.
5-2 that year. I could be wrong.
Yeah, look at the end of the year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 out of 6 games we lost. Week 10 and after.
That's
So
not us.
yeah, it is.
I see Detroit on my screen.
Oh, sorry. Here you go.
Oh,
uh
okay, there we go.
We lost to Tampa in Germany, and then lost, win, lost. I mean, like we had the opposite of Detroit's season. So,
Yeah.
maybe we're the same team, whatever. Like we won that overtime game. They won that game to end the year. We got in, but I felt like we were the descending team. They were the ascending team. And then last year they were better than us. But like we beat them that year 48-5. Somehow again, we were just for some reason against Detroit, we have a way of
48-45.
48-45. But
Yeah.
we have some way of going to Detroit and playing winning football. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just they like playing in that dome stadium. It's easier. The colors, it feels like it's always nicely well lit in there. Like I hate those games on TV, George, where like it's so shadowy and it's like dark on the screen. Uh,
You know what's weird? I feel like the NFC North, we just dominate Minnesota and we dominate Detroit, and I feel like we play them in bunches, and then we struggle mightily against Green Bay. And
I
just
don't know. We
don't
had a stretch where we were killing Green Bay.
well, we had the feel well, I guess it was kind of 50-50, right? We beat them in the NFC Championship game. Lost to them once on Sunday Night Football, huge. We won on the Fail Mary. Let's say, yeah, we we
We
we
won the
we had
NFC Championship
we
game.
won the NFC Championship. And Chicago, I just feel like we avoid playing in any circumstances other than Russell Wilson's last game as a Seahawk.
Yeah, I mean this era, but I think didn't we play them in the NFC Championship
And
06?
it not championship game, but the divisional round.
Yeah. Uh, well, really, let's forget about the divisions for a second. Let's go back to the game for a second. Um,
Oh yeah, the game.
yeah,
That-
the game. This is the important topic here. I think at the end of the day, I want to go back to what I mentioned in the beginning. What I care about seeing, you know, in this game is just that weeks 1 through 3 weren't a fluke based on who we were playing. Now, I'm
Right.
not going to be concerned about the Seahawks lost 27-24 on a game-winning field goal. Okay, well that means we competed the whole game. We're on par with Detroit. Detroit's a good football team, so I'm not going to sit here and be so concerned if we don't get the win. But I want to see that week 1 and 2 and 3 were just not a fluke, and this defense is really good, as we've seen, and the offense is going to keep getting better. And we're actually a team that can compete with the team that made the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah.
And that's to me what matters more than the win-loss column. Because starting 3-0 in general, you're already in a phenomenal position. You're not going to win every game, as we always mention, unless I don't know, unless we're the best team ever. But do you agree with that? Because I know some people are just wins and losses, right? I'm not a wins and losses only guy. How's the team competing? Did they get blown out of the water, like you said? Like, what I like to see the whole vibe of the game.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way until the game starts, and
Yeah.
then it's just like whatever happens in the game, we're kind of. I mean, we're fans. We're reactionary. I'll be like all week. Yeah, if we don't win this game and we're 3-1 and we lose by 3 points, we'll be okay. Then, if we lose by 3 points on a game-winning field goal because we fumbled and gave him an opportunity to do that, I'm gonna be pissed off and I'm gonna be like, "What the heck? Why did we?"
Geno Smith fumble. He sucks. Goodness gracious. I knew this
Yeah.
was going to happen. And then the next
So
week, you're like, all right, we're back. We're good.
yeah, then we're back and good. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, but I think once the game starts, your emotions kind of take over for about whatever 3.5 hours, and then you're probably upset or really, really happy after the game too. Because if you win that game and you win in any fashion, you're going to come out of that and be like, "Oh, we're 4-0, we're Super Bowl contenders, and we're the best team in the NFC." So I feel like when a game starts in a 3 hour, maybe even 24-hour window after the game, you're kind of running on emotions. And then after that, you're back to, even if you lose, you're like, you know what, we're 3-1. And then we play the New York Giants, which is a good remedy to go 4-1.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you said something important. There's two sides to like all these type of stories. Yes, there's the side of if we lose close, it's okay. Did we compete? Once you process it, it's fine. But then there's the other side of if you win that game in Detroit, Monday Night Football, national television, 4-0, there's going to be somebody this week, probably one of the 3-0 teams that lose. You might be one of one, one of two, maybe one of
I
three.
picked every 3-0 team to lose except us and the Chiefs.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, either way, they might all win, they might all lose. But I think at the end of the day, it's most likely going to be one or two teams left at 4-0. So if you win that game, you're sitting there saying, okay, like
It's
this is
on, baby.
no joke. Yeah, like this is not a joke anymore. Like people are like, oh, the schedule, oh, well, the quarterbacks they played. You win that game, you come out and say 4-0, like we can't be stopped this year. And I have this thing. This is from 2021, George. So don't necessarily like it. I don't know if it can't change that much, but it's probably
Yeah.
pretty accurate. Is
17 games in 2021?
Yes, this is
Okay.
based on a 17 game, 7 playoff team in each conference. So 4-0 puts you already at an 85%. 85% of teams that start off 4-0 make the playoffs.
Wow.
3-1 is still not bad at 67, but we're talking about like we're inching close to 90% if we start off 4-0. So
Well, I love that 17-0 is 100% chance to make the playoffs.
actually
That's
10-0 is 100%. Even though that feels inaccurate. What if you lose 7 straight and then
you'd be 10-7 and probably still be a wild card.
yeah, but I feel like it should be 99 above because like there are teams that have won 10 games and lost. They're not made it, right?
I think
Or maybe
I don't
9,
know.
maybe it's 9-8.
I'm not sure. I feel like there's been a 10-win team that's missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel that way too. So I don't know if that's really 100, but well, maybe actually it probably is 100. This is based on a team that started 10-0 makes it 100% of the time.
Yeah, because it says there if you go 10-1, it's 99%. But anyway, that's besides the point. 4-0 puts us in a really good position to make the playoffs.
85%. That's a big deal. But you can also see how like if you start off 3-0 and then you lose 2 in a row after that, you go down to 55%, right? Or even losing 1, the difference is 85% to 67%. So as I'm saying, it's a huge deal if you win this game. We're
Good
talking
data, by the
about
way, Sammy.
like
Thank you for bringing big data today to the
you're
show.
welcome. I had to. You're looking at an 85%, possibility of making a playoff starting 4-0. And I do think that's when you start having that conversation. Wow, we beat Detroit on the road Monday Night Football and we're 4-0. Like, how serious of a contender is this team? Like, right? Like, are we NFC championship type of caliber, like top 2 team in the NFC? And you might get your mind there if you win this game.
As a team like the Seahawks, like this team, I'm trying to think like just back, right? And has they ever won the Super Bowl?
Like a team like the Seahawks?
Yeah, like a
No.
team that has like a veteran quarterback, brings in a new head coach, and just like
A lot of young guys.
and a lot of young guys ever won a Super Bowl.
Not year one. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm thinking like year one.
Like the only, and this is not, he was not a new coach. The only way would be like, and it still hasn't happened. Like the only way would have been like a Peyton Manning joined the Broncos and won year
Yeah.
one, or like Tom Brady joins the Bucks. If it was a new coach that year, they win year one. But like Bruce Arians was there before Tom Brady, wasn't he? So yeah, he
Yes.
was. He didn't like Jameis's interceptions.
Yeah, the last time was 1990 that a rookie head coach won a Super Bowl.
uh, who was it?
George Seifert.
Are you sure?
That's what Google says.
Interesting. There's only been 2 coaches that have ever done it.
Yeah,
So.
Don McCaffrey. Okay, I know we talked about this on the last podcast. Just hear me out. I know he's not a Mick, but he's almost a McDonald. Mick, he could become McCaffrey McDonald. So
Who was
possibility.
but like once again, who was the 1990 49ers quarterback? Was that Montana
I think
Young?
that was Montana, and they've won Super Bowls before with other coaches.
That's why like that's not even relatable then, like because
no team like the Seahawks has ever won the Super
it was
Bowl.
Joe
So I'm not.
Montana.
Yeah, he's
Who
a veteran. Geno Smith is a veteran. I mean,
no, very different, obviously. Like Joe Montana had been with them for 10 years at that point. That was his last year. They went to Steve Young the next year after winning the Super Bowl. But like Joe Montana had won multiple Super Bowls. So it's like very different. Like you got to remember the Geno Smith thing too. Like there aren't that many quarterbacks like Geno Smith that have won Super Bowls. Like
only
that.
Brett Favre, right? I would say is the only like guy who failed in a place and had to go somewhere
Yeah,
else.
but
And
Brett Favre failed for like a year or two and then went to Green Bay.
no, I totally know. I mean, there's not been
Geno
like
Smith has been in the NFL for
Steve Young. Steve Young is one. Duh.
yeah.
Yeah, Buccaneers quarterback for multiple years, then a backup to Joe Montana, and then boom, Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, but not with that first year head coach. So
Exactly. No, yeah, I know.
Nothing that would happen like this team, which in all reality, George, the Seahawks most likely, well, actually every year you could say 99% they're probably not going to win the Super Bowl because it's like it's every team's probably like a 5% chance unless you're like a Patriots or Chief type of dynasty.
Exactly.
And so like it's most likely not happening this year, but I think a win in Detroit, like we mentioned, is a type of win where you say 4-0, we won in Detroit. Is Detroit one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC? It's pretty wide open right now. They
pretty wide
probably
open,
are.
but probably talent wise, you'd say they might be the number 1 team in the NFC because 49ers
are
injuries
railing a little bit. Yeah, like that's how I'm seeing it because like at the end of the day, no shade to them. I'm not necessarily maybe some people probably see the Seahawks the same way, but like I still think the Lions are better than the Vikings.
I agree.
I don't think anyone in the NFC South is like as good as Detroit. Eagles
no one in
are
the
like
Eagles
are okay. Commanders are not going to be like a NFC Championship type of team.
I think the only team that I mean the Packers, Seahawks right now, and the Lions, I would say, are the 3 best teams in the NFC.
I would add the 49ers because if they get healthy over a week.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking about like without the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what the Saints do for a week or two. They might be legit. They got a good offensive coordinator. Derek Carr looks different. Maybe they are as good as they're coming across as. I know they lost, but they lost to the Eagles, who's a team that's been a Super Bowl contender for 2 years. So to me, in my eyes, I'm looking at like Eagles, Lions, Packers, Seahawks, 49ers range. So if you beat the Lions, I'm looking at it like maybe we are better. Maybe we're the best team in the NFC, with the 49ers, Lions, Eagles, Saints type of, it's so wide open. It's not like if I look at the NFC right now, I can unequivocally tell you like Chiefs and Bills are probably 2 best teams. Like, yeah, you have Pittsburgh and Houston but like Chiefs and Bills, like, would you be surprised if that's the AFC Championship right now? Probably not. So
no, not surprised at all.
NFC is wide open. Seahawks have a game to prove that they're maybe that team in the NFC, right? Like we're the team to beat somehow. Like I didn't expect it to be this good year 1, but if it is, God bless Mike McDonald.
Absolutely. What's your predictions for this game?
I bet the Seahawks the plus 3.5, but
Okay.
I could see them losing by 3. That's why that spread's so good. Um, uh, but I'm probably it's hard. It's a bias, but I have a feeling the Seahawks are going to win. Like just because of what happened the last 2 years in Detroit. I still don't know if we're a better football team than them, and we weren't the last 2 times we played them, but I'm just going to go 31-27 Seahawks just
Okay.
because until we lose a game, I'm just going to keep saying we're going to win.
I'm going with a final score of 27-17 Seahawks.
10-point win?
Sure, just throwing it out there.
Jeez, we couldn't even beat the Broncos or Patriots by more than 6, bro.
I know. I'm just I feel like it's gonna be 2017, fourth quarter. We're gonna have a drive, put it up by 10 points, and that'll be the win.
I hope so. Big week, big Monday night football game, and let's hope for the 4-0 Mike McDonald led Seattle Seahawks, George.
Let's do it.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming by today, and George, you know what we like to say.
Thanks for stopping by.
Peace.